Today we're going to go over some footage from, I believe the 9th, so a little over a week ago. It's no gi footage tonight. We didn't have gi footage on hand. But, yeah, let's get into it. What's up, Justin? What's up, Pat? Where's the chat box at? Oh, thanks, man. I'm trying to see if I get the chat box up. Looks like it's not showing up for whatever reason. All right, anyway. Computers are hard. And yeah, Mike's not joining us tonight. So you guys are stuck with me. Hold on. I've got to get this chat box up because I can't keep switching between all these screens. All right, whatever. That works. How is everybody's Sunday going? What's up, Joe? Okay, whatever. We'll make it work. Let's get back to the footage. So Daniel and I think Danny or Duncan, I'm not sure. Yeah, me and Cody. I like how heavy Cody's playing on on the head right now, making it difficult for me in the beginning to set up any sort of attacks. And this is a finish or like a grip that I've really been digging lately and just looking for it anywhere I can. But the this underhook that I have, like I'm over his head. I have the underhook right here, yeah. As I've been using that to try to take people over a bit more. I mean, it's like it's so weird because it's a common thing in like a lot of wrestling. This is footage from the 9th. So whatever date that was, or whatever day that was, Saturday the 9th. So 2 Saturdays ago. But yeah, that cow catcher grip is really useful for turning people over. It's like, it's in the same way we use like that power half Nelson. I like using that from when I'm facing them. What happened with Daniel and Duncan here? Looks like Daniel started working a north-south strangle. Yeah, so when Daniel starts to get that pressure on, it's pretty tough to work out of this. As far as like defenses go, for Duncan, he may be trying as hard as he can to do this, but like turning your face in towards your opponent, it's a way to bide yourself some time. But then you really need to focus on, getting your frames in, creating space, and looking for ways to regard from there. Easier said than done, especially because Daniel's he's pretty much towards the late stages of this submission, so a lot of the time for that it may have passed for Duncan at that point. Yeah, this is 2 Saturdays ago, I think. What happened with Cody? Okay, good technical lift up. Let's see that takedown again. So he got behind on a duck under, it looks like. Yep. Nice. Heavy on the hips, rotated down, took me out. Nice takedown from Daniel. Does he end up getting the guillotine? He does not. Duncan survives it. We got Steven beating up on Gavin now. Nice. Cody putting to work some options we went over, I guess, about a month ago now from back control. So I was doing the best I could to shut down his strangle attacks and all that stuff. And he makes the switch with his control side arm or his underhook side down. You know, when he realized he was having trouble getting the strangle finish, he makes the switch to attack the armbar. So he keeps control of that of the bottom side arm, grabs the wrist, brings his arm up and over, sets up his like double wrist grip. Looks like the break or the grip broke there, getting a little sloppy on it, but gets his leg over the head, retains the arm, gets the armbar. Always a favorite transition when someone's just putting up a really good strangle fight. Running the pipe on the takedown. Steven's torturing Gavin right now. Let's look how Steven set that up. Alright, so Steven is on mount, attacking basically a Kimura setup. So he starts to sag off to the side. Okay, Gavin curls up. Steven gets behind him, hits the triangle. Looked like it was... I imagine that was more of a strangle than anything. It's hard to say. Nice takedown, Brandon. So for those that attended the seminar with Tom DeBlas, I think he went over at one point during the Q&A, he talked about this like triangle variation that he likes to do, where he really just straightens his legs out because he's got, you know, he says he has short legs, you know, short but strong, but he has a difficult time setting up the triangle sometimes. So he utilizes more of like a teepee choke style of finish for the triangle. So that's what I did to Cody here, where you basically just pull the head in, straighten the legs out, try to squeeze on the neck. Helps to have the arm across. All right, I want to look at Gavin and Steven here. So Gavin did a good job getting to the back. He's a little loose right now, like as he's setting this up. So great snap down, gets behind. I'd like to see that knee inserting in right that way, like pointing in towards the hip. Because right now, in all honesty, Steven's probably being a really good training partner, letting Gavin work. But with that heavy upper body position and no lower body connection, Steven could pretty easily just like buck Gavin off of him or just move. You know, Gavin doesn't have anything wedging Steven's hips in place or his legs or like, you know, anything to wear him like a backpack. Starts to get that hook in on the far side, not terrible. Yeah, I think Steven's letting him work here. it's going to be difficult to pull somebody over like this. So I'd like to see him making use of like that power half Nelson grip where this forearm would be on the back of Steven's head. This arm reaches under and makes a connection to his other hand, the one on the back of the forehead, or the back of the head rather, and then crunches Steven's chest underneath him. It's a much more persuasive way to get somebody to turn over. You're not always going to be able to just yank him over like that. And the same for Cody, right? He got me over there, but he had no lower body connection, so it's going to be difficult for him to retain control. Daniel on the cross side ankle lock. Cross side because he's got Duncan's leg across the body. If it was a standard ankle lock, he'd have the Duncan's left leg in under his right arm, but he's got it across his center line. Little bit of variation on the mechanics of how you finish. You can see he's twisting up Duncan's ankle pretty good there. Gavin nowhere close to finishing that rear naked strangle. Great illustration of the dummy sweep and why we're not really afraid of it, or that like double ankle sweep. Notice as soon as Steven hits the mat and Gavin starts to come up, which is the right thing. Gavin wants to get to the top position. Steven pinches his legs together, making it difficult for Gavin to progress forward, and he keeps him on his butt. Eventually, it looks like Steven works the pass option here. So he uses that to pass the guard. He could also use it to enter legs. It's another really great option just to immediately attack. As far as some open guard harassment here with Cody and I'm constantly bugging his feet. As soon as he stands up, I'm not just... I mean, you could tell, like, right where I'm looking. I'm not even looking up at his chest or his hands or his head. I'm just constantly moving forward, going after the feet here. I'm getting him walking back. I'm getting his legs open. Right here, I have, my hook in behind his right leg, and my hand is pretty close to his ankle, so I opt to finish it, or I guess not yet. A few more tries. Okay, yeah, that's a better indication of what I did. So sitting on your butt, it's gonna be hard to come up for the ankle pick and really like finish it. So after tooling around trying to like kick his ankles out, kick his feet out, you can see I make a transition to here, like where I'm starting to almost do like a technical lift. That gets me in a more athletic position to then reach down to the ankle and hit an ankle pick. And I opted for an outside grip here. I don't know why, just because. On the outside, pulled it out, stood up, and took him down. So just constant aggression on a standing opponent's connection to the ground is a really, really good thing to do. Keeps them from mounting any serious attack. That was a sloppy takedown for me. Okay, where were we? So I think I missed a few things here. So Daniel and Luke are going. I'm on Gavin's back. Okay. Luke's doing his damnedest to either attack a straight arm lock or the shoulder crunch sweep. Opting for double unders. There we go, onto the shoulder crunch. Really effective, or maybe effective is not the right word, but notice just how Luke is switching constantly, right? As soon as he loses the opportunity on Daniel's left arm, he immediately switches to Daniel's right. So right here, Daniel posts. He's got, in order to like lurch up like that, he has to post with his opposite hand. And when he's doing that, Luke makes the switch and takes a deep underhook on that to try to set up the shoulder crunch, resurrect the opportunity on that side. Something that could help a little bit. I mean, he's working from close guard right now, so it's going to be difficult to finish that without a butterfly hook. So in this case, his right leg as a butterfly hook would be helpful, and then his left leg either pushing Daniel's leg out from underneath him or pressuring off the mat to get his hips up as he tries to hit the sweep. But Daniel's doing a great job trying to keep his head over Luke's head, which makes I think Peters has talked about that a lot before. It makes the shoulder crunch less threatening. It's as you try to like pull out of the shoulder crunch that it can get more dangerous for you. Steven on a leg. Look at Steven's fancy converging cross ashi entrance here. So let's check this out. That was cool. Let's look at this again. So it starts with Steven. Actually, it looks like he's focusing more on Peter's left leg, probably because Mike's trying to like knee staple him down and work this light, looser passing with the leg pummeling. But as he gets Mike off or kind of off balance, Mike has to post up with his hands. He's starting to cut an angle. You could see Steven starting to get perpendicular. It looks like Mike's trying to follow him up, but now Steven switches to focus on the other leg. So here, if you just, froze it like this and told me to, predict what was happening, I would say Steven's probably going to try to enter into, like an outside Ashigarami or something. But he actually ends up switching to enter into a cross Ashi, which is really, really slick. I wish I could see from the other side that leg pummel that Steven's doing. But yeah, he gets his figure four set up, inverts, and then comes out the back into this, what would have been a cross Ashi. Mike was wise to it and ended up stacking and getting out of it. But either way, that was a really great little try at getting to that position. And just further on the point with that shoulder crunch that Luke is working on Daniel, you can see Daniel really trying to pressure forward to get his head over Luke's head here. At this point, Luke doesn't have a real opportunity to finish that sweep, and Daniel knows it, so he's feeling better. He's looking to extract his arm from here instead of extracting it from a flattened out, stretched out position. What happened to Gavin? Oh, I think we just moved for the big guys. What's going on, Cody? You were in the first round, man. You missed it. You and I had a good roll. This is from like 2 weeks ago. Joe and Ron here. getting after it. Oh, okay, cool. All right, so Gavin and I are going over the arm triangle. Okay, so what I'm telling him here, I remember this roll. So if anybody in the chat is looking at this, wondering what I'm telling him, what do you think I would be telling him as far as like how to tighten this up? One of the obvious things to me that jumps out is his shoulder placement. So, yeah, I should say shoulder / bicep. The arm triangle, I have to like the right side, in this case the inside is my right side. That's got to be closed off by my own shoulder. The other side has to be closed off by his bicep and or shoulder pressure digging into my neck. I think my chin is pretty tucked. You can see it's kind of hidden. Now he adjusted. See how I pulled his head, or I pulled his shoulder down to get under. I'm helping him out here. Get him under my chin. Now you can see the point of my chin peeking out, and that's where I start to get into some real trouble. So when you find yourself in this position and it's not working, as it often doesn't for me, there are two immediate things you can look at: your connection of your arm to their neck, and the connection of their arm / shoulder to their neck. Those are the two immediate things that you can troubleshoot if you need some help with this one. Deepen, use the shoulder, hips to the mat. Yeah, that's really it. And for in this case for Gavin, what I was telling him is if you're not there, if you don't think your shoulder's on it, you can kind of take a beat, slide your shoulder down my chest, so you would kind of like drive yourself this way and then back up underneath my chin. So you make this little kind of scoop with your shoulder down the chest, pressure into them, and then scooch back up under their chin. And if your connection on that side is fine, then you've got to troubleshoot. Well, maybe those things are related. Alternatively, you can try to get your elbow, if it's not the shoulder that's digging under the chin, you can try to get your elbow deeper under the neck as well. I've talked about that a million times, but if you guys haven't heard that, just ask me in class. I've been really trying to Granby roll out of stuff with you guys, a la Gary Tonin. He's got a fun highlight reel of him just like almost cartwheeling, but just like Granby rolling out of stuff, like walking around like an airplane, like with his arms out, just going back and forth, and then hitting a roll and hitting a roll and hitting a roll until he gets out. Let's see. Daniel and Luke are in a cool spot. What's going on here? Daniel rolls, does that pinning we often see him doing. Looks like Luke's trying to attack a crucifix. Okay. So Daniel manages to stay in top position. Gets himself into a 3/4 mount. He's pretty deep on Luke's arm here. Or he was. It was well isolated. Brandon. What's up with you guys? So I think, Brandon, I think you and I talked a little bit about this at class the other day when we were drilling together. Maybe not. So like right here, as you're making this transition, you're leaving a lot of space to where if Brandon was a bit more seasoned, Brandon on bottom getting his arm attacked, if he was a bit more seasoned, he would take that opportunity to roll really hard, get his elbow to the mat, and be out of any real threat of an armbar. But if you close that distance, if you got his hips in behind his arm and like pinned his elbow into your chest, you could make a much more effective connection for finishing that armbar. And if you were just letting him work, that's fine too. Peter's working a clamp guard against Steven into the triangle. Just because it's been leg week, I'll point it out. But just making use of the Irimi, like the standard Ashi against Gavin here. Notice I'm just shooting my hips up. I've got his ankle scooped. Do I keep that grip? So yeah, right there. This is just, it's something we drill typically at the very beginning of legs week when we're like kind of reintroducing, well, either introducing newbies to leg attacks, leg entanglements, or reintroducing you guys after 3.5 months of other positions. But notice I've just got my foot under the opposite hip or the opposite thigh, closed loop with my knee and my heel up at the hip. I've got ankle control, and I'm just extending my body up and pointing my knees out and away. And that's how you can use that leg entanglement to get a sweep where you can put your opponent on his butt and then either transition to other leg attacks from there, or leg entanglements, or set up whatever attack you want. But I think by now, those of you who have been training the last 2 weeks probably know it's essential that you've got to get their butt to the ground. You got to keep them there, and then you can think about things like heel exposure and all that. So breaking your opponent down is a crucial part of that whole series of attacks. Yeah, man, I'll help you out with your arm bars too. If as always, man, if you guys like, especially the beginners, if you guys start gravitating to certain submissions, like you feel like they work really well for you, or you just honestly think they're fun to hit, then work them more and more, and like ask us, ask the coaches, ask any of the higher belts who you think do those moves well, how to tighten them up. So if arm bars are starting to be your thing, we'll definitely polish that. Oh, great. This is where I just get smashed by James. So yeah, James, like we were giving him, kind of giving him shit and also complimenting him at the same time the other day, how he leaves us for 6 weeks or however long it was, and we're like, all right, he'll come back, and his gas tank will be a little compromised, and maybe he'll be a little rusty, and it was like he hadn't skipped class, and it's pissing all of us off. So I hope you're happy, James. But really solid, without all kidding aside, really solid top pressure. Anybody who's been going with James lately knows that it's, once he gets to a position, a mount position or something, it's going to be a long day for you, or a long round at least. Cole and I think Joe. Look at how James is passing my guard here. So James actually has an outside position, which I wouldn't normally recommend, but notice as he, with that position on the outside, like if he just controls my legs and denies me the inside position between his two legs, here I have it. I don't make good use of it. I'm starting to like maybe try to leg pummel into X guard. He times it extremely well, steps around, and at that point, he's past my guard. He keeps my legs pointed away or my knees pointed away, and transitions right into side control. How did Cole get back there? I saw Cole setting up this back take. Okay, it looks like Joe denied him the initial back take there. Working from the back, or from mount rather. Alright, he just worked his way around as you were trying to escape. I like that he immediately sinks in, or tries to sink in the strangle. Nice. Very nice. That's the one of the fun things about attacking the rear naked strangles. Like, I mean, you guys have sat through my explanations on the hand fight and like using the straight jacket system and all that stuff with the leg trapping. But sometimes, like, you can't forget that you can just set up. What's up, James? You can just set up a strangle sometimes because someone leaves their neck open. You don't need to go through the hand fight. You get to the back, you slam your strangle arm in, and you just skipped all the hard parts of getting to it. Nice, Joe. I was gonna say, really great connection to the legs there, and bugging the head, all that stuff, trying to make Cole immobile as you're working around. Looks like Duncan is over here trying to rip Gavin's head off with his legs, I think. I don't know if he has, I don't think he has an arm trapped in there, so it might not be much of a strangle. But probably super uncomfortable. Got him with something. Joe looking for revenge on the rear naked. Thanks, man. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like this was just, it would be a cleaner look. It was like the only thing I actually ended up buying on Prime Day was a green screen. Peter's got one too. We just got to get him set up with it and all that. That's what I thought. It's funny, as soon as I get it set up though, the chat box stops working, so now I've got to troubleshoot that. I don't know why it's not on the screen today, but whatever. You guys can see it on Twitch. Daniel has... There we go. I was going to say, he's in like a not even a side triangle. It was really, he didn't have the far arm, but his leg configuration was a little wonky there. Yeah, exactly. You guys can get the chat, you know, all R-rated now since it's not on the screen. Oh, Joe, I think this was your match with Luke, where he was heavily encouraging you to attack his legs, which is great. I think I was chastising Cole there for leading in with his head low, like we've talked about him doing. Yeah. for that. Yeah, Luke is... He's scary until you realize he's just a big teddy bear that can kill you. Cody, nice. Working the armbar over here on the side. Excellent. Excellent job, Cody. It's against Duncan. So let's look at this one more time. Let's see how you got here. So Duncan, okay, you were on a single. Duncan hits the mat. You're working around to like the dorsal position a little bit. Okay. So I think, yeah, right here, as you start to come up on that, kind of on the dorsal Kimura, Duncan tries to barrel into you. Good composure. Way to just recognize like the angle you were taking. A lot of times in those dynamic escapes, you can kind of get lost, lose the orientation of the joint you're trying to attack and all that. I like the little shift you made there. It's important that your hips are going to be in line with his shoulder line. So yeah, I mean, it looks like you were recognizing that he was you had either lost it yourself or he was taking it away from you. I like the little switch you made. You kept hold on the arm. There was a moment there where he could have gotten out, and you did exactly the right thing in forcing his head back down. As he's sitting up into you, you already have the arm exposed. His free arm, if he had kind of not attacked, but like taken that top leg off his face and maybe tried to roll up from there, probably could have escaped. But I like how you open your knee up and start putting his leg down, or I'm sorry, putting his head down with your leg. Enough compliments. Time to tear apart other things. No, this isn't bad. The way you're gripping the arm here with that like double, just double hand grip right on the wrist, that tells me that you lost connection at some point, like a decent elbow deep, elbow to elbow grip. That's often, this is like a last ditch kind of grip. I'd like to see you trying these I want you to think about finishing it with your forearms, like you're clamping, to his arm to your chest. There will be, towards the end, you will want the wrist grip to like break over the hip or whatever. But as you're trying to separate the arm and all that, I don't want to see his hand leaving your chest too much. If that's making any sense. I have this arrow, so why don't I use it? This space right here, I'd like to see that closed up even as you're starting to go to your back as you finish this. And again, a lot of poorly explained details there on my end, so we can talk more about that at class. But either way, super awesome. Glad to see you working that through a variety of angles. Really rad. Looks like Brandon's trying to work on his straight ankle here. Big heavy reap. Well, kind of a reap. Fortunately, he's not cranking Steven's knee in a bad direction. So dealing with Luke's body triangle. I was going to say, this is the worst. Yeah, Luke's body triangle is pretty awful. Let's see what happens with this before I start talking. All right, whatever. He takes you to mount. So, where did that happen? So you're dealing with the top side body triangle here. Really sucks. You're doing the right thing in focusing on your neck first. You know, getting your making sure your neck is safe. When you start to feel comfortable, it looks like maybe you tried it just a second ago, but getting this top knee behind Luke's foot is imperative for opening up the body triangle. Yeah, I think you can tell that hand on the foot isn't doing anything. You quickly abandon that. You really have to open the triangle up with this foot or with this leg. That's where it starts. So I like your angle here is pretty good. Like Luke doesn't quite have you as aligned as he would like, I think. But this is the perfect time to shoot this leg straight back, then bring it up and try to get your knee to the back of his ankle and bring it in between your legs. This is a time where you want your opponent to have that inside position. His leg between yours. And then if you're in a good spot with defending your neck, this is where you get to start breaking some of the fundamental rules that we like to talk about, where, you know, we say like never fight legs with your arms. This is a time where you get to do it. So once you bring that leg across, and or just so we're all on the same page, once you bring this leg in between your two legs, you can use your bottom arm, and I again, you can break that rule too when you're comfortable with it, I guess, but I only use my bottom arm typically to fight a leg with an arm. Why? Because he can't leg trap my bottom side arm. So I'm safe to use it. And I'll grab the foot like at the knuckle line, I'll pull it up, and I'll start to try to untie his legs from there. That's the best approach to getting out of the body triangle. Once you open that body triangle, really what you're looking for is turning towards him. So good chance you'll end up either in closed guard if you get top position, or in mount and you're on bottom position. Better than a back control. That's how you handle it when the body triangle is on top. Here, you guys end up making a switch to where the body triangle is on bottom, and this is a pretty new concept to me. Just within like the last few months that I've started toying with, and it's been working well. When the body triangle is on the bottom, there's a little gap here in this, you know, the space between your hips and Luke's knee opens up a little bit, and it's often big enough to be able to rotate your hips, but you have to like lift your legs off the ground and whip them as you go to rotate. Like, I don't want to call it a kip, because kipping is like a very kind of linear move. This is like a hard whip where you rotate your hips and try to get this inside elbow of yours down to the mat between them. Something you're just gonna have to start playing with it to get the movement down and to get the timing down. I was trying to get his top leg to the bottom and get him to switch to try to sneak out by switching sides. Not a bad strategy either. I personally hate when my body triangle ends up on the bottom side. I don't like the pressure that it puts on my on this ankle. So as you know, the person I'm attacking decides to switch sides, yeah, absolutely, I'll try to switch my body triangle. Totally vulnerable time to try to get out of it. Luke doesn't care about his ankles and his legs and has no self-respect, so he will let you just crank away on that ankle and won't even make a face if it hurts him. So not the best strategy for him. I don't think I've ever seen him concerned about like the ankle pressure on the bottom triangle. Even though he just switched there, it maybe just because he prefers the top side for his body triangle, but I don't know. Nice little torso stretch on you there. But you're getting your turning, you're getting your You're getting totally misaligned here. Yeah, got you with the armbar. Mounted armbar. So he switches up to almost a mounted triangle position, but yeah, having Luke totally up top, isolating your head and shoulders. Good luck getting out of that. All right, cool. So I think this is where Luke started telling you to attack the leg. Maybe? I don't remember. Nice. All right, so well, let's let it play out. Okay, yeah, you're starting to adjust down the leg. Like I said, man, he has no respect for his own ankles. He just doesn't care. This is interesting. There we go. Nice. That's deep, man. That's a nice solid bite you have on his ankle there. All right, let's look at this a little bit more in depth. So when you go to sit in on this leg, you land, in standard ashi, right, or remi ashi, but you're going for, it looks like you really try to send home the straight ankle. The problem with that is, at least in my opinion, your hips are way too close to his hips for the straight ankle. This leg configuration is much better suited for attacking heel hooks because his knee is so far in past your knee line. If this is your knee line, you know, he's super deep. I find, and it's probably because I'm like short, when I'm if I want to go for a straight ankle, like I can't do it when his knee is that far past my knee line. It actually, for me, feels like it needs to be a little bit closer to the knee line, which is antithetical to like a lot of the stuff you guys learned over the last 2 weeks with leg locks. Just keep in mind that a lot of those rules apply to heel hooks, not necessarily straight ankles. So you later here, you can see you start walking yourself down, and now notice how close his knee is to your knee line. It's a lot closer right there. Yeah, right here you can watch. You start kind of almost like your shoulder walking back. Really, like, I guess what I haven't said clearly, when your hips are that close to his hips, your forearm, which is the fulcrum of this move, is way up the calf. As you start to travel down the leg and you get your forearm behind, you know, closer and preferably behind his Achilles tendon, that's where you're going to nail that straight ankle. Doesn't happen because Luke doesn't tap to these unless, you know, it's Tom ripping on his ankle. But I like that you make the switch, because now, like, you know, Luke has pressured towards you to try to boot out of it, bringing his knee deeper into the knee line. Like his knee bends here, so you're kind of working back up the leg. So you say, all right, let's switch to the heel hook. Here, I think Luke's being a little friendly. Like you don't have a good closed loop. I'd like to see either this foot to the hip or your inside foot coming to the outside for like an outside ashi. But I like this double hand. I love that you grab the Achilles, pull the heel up, expose the heel, and get your grip in. That's like the first way I ever learned how to expose the heel. Coming over on the reap, perfect illustration of why reaping is great. It exposes the heel. This is getting a little nitpicky, but like if Luke really wants to get out of this, let's just say he's worried about the break now. You know, he's got to roll. He can't turn to his left. He's got to continue rolling to his right. This leg of his is the one that's going to lead that charge. If you bring this foot down into the crook of his knee, you can slow down his roll and track him a little bit better. You track him well through this first one. Like, that's the thing. Luke can like pull his knee here and backstep over, and he's basically free at that point. You track with him, and then right there, yeah, that's going to be a better spot for your leg. Luke's doing what he should do. You know, like he's trying to continue his roll, so he gets that out. But like, this is going to be where, you know, you're working on trying to finish it. He's trying to escape. So kind of a race to the finish at that point. And then there are other things you could do there, continuing the roll, switching to different leg entanglements, different variations. But that whole exchange was super sweet. Looked really good. I'm glad Luke was letting you, or encouraging you rather, to roll through there, and then just being a total dick and hitting an Imanari roll on you. So yeah, now Luke's switching. You're good there. You look safe just because you got the knee free up, but then Luke scoops it back in, gets the knee bar. Nice. Yeah, cool exchange all around. That was really good. Thought you had sprawled out of that. That's tough. What was Cole doing to me? Cole was thrashing me here for a bit. We move for them. Cole just taking a dominant position through that whole roll, I think. Steven trying to force his way into a go-go, I want to say. Nice, James. Let's look at that again. So this is a good example of what I was talking about at the beginning of our leg locks, where I just went through how these are all how the positions are all related. Luke is in a pseudo, like you could say he's almost in like an outside Ashigarami here. He doesn't have James broken down just yet, but he's got the triangle on the outside. As he steps over, or as James takes the roll, let's see where they end up. Now he's actually in something more akin to a cross Ashi. And notice it's just because James moved, right? So Luke's crossed legs are on the outside of James's hip. As James rotates over and rotates faster than Luke does, now his crossed legs are on the inside. So Luke's closer to a cross Ashi at this point, which you can see here as he starts to sit up into it. Now as Luke gets his hips up, and I'm assuming he's trying to like invert, trying to expose the heel or just change the position here. It's almost like he is into, I'm being loose with this, but he's closer to a reverse Ashi where he's facing the other way. facing away from James, facing the feet instead of across him or at him. So just through that motion and attacking the same leg, he's moved through a number of ashi variations. What I'd really love to see from you guys is when, if I paired everybody up and said, all right, partner one, set up a cross ashi. Just being able to immediately go to it without any sort of, oh yeah, I got to do this, or is this right, or am I doing this right? Like just understanding those leg positions, and then from there, I say, go to a reverse ashi, go to a 50-50, go, like being able to watch you guys smoothly transition between those would be, that's like a really great goal for yourselves if you want to familiarize yourself with leg attacks. Leg week is over. We're starting close guard tomorrow. So if you guys want to continue practicing that stuff, do so at the next open mat. What did Cole do to Steven here? Looks like he just really cranked up on that arm. Okay. Basically an Americana. I would never ask you guys to do anything I didn't think you could do. Actually, that's a lie. I would just harass you while you struggled to do it. But now it is, I mean, if that is a stretch goal for you guys, like all the more reason to do it. Just to keep, keep in mind, to keep those things fresh as we get away. I mean, we're not going to do legs again for like another 3.5 months, just based on how we cycle through the curriculum. But as you know, in the next 3.5 months, as we get some newbies in, intros and all that, if you guys can start showing them that stuff and teaching that to them, answering positional questions like that, some of the other guys, all the better. Luke with the Kimura trap. So that was really cool. I think you guys may have noticed what he did there. So Luke's trying to hit the Kimura trap here. He goes up and over for it. And then notice James is defending immediately. He doesn't want that leg coming over the head because that's going to isolate his left arm for the arm bar. But they get their legs tangled up here. And Luke says, oh, okay, screw the upper body. Let me just try to switch and go into a leg attack. James was wise to it and slipped the knee out. But being able to, stay aware, go from upper body centric attacks to lower body centric attacks is a fantastic way to catch your opponent off guard. What is this lullaby playing right now? There we go. Cole's got a nasty grip on Steven. If he can wrench him over. So I don't know if Daniel tapped me in this round or not, but I can tell you for sure something you'll often see me doing with him is giving up my back a lot of times. At this point, I think we all know Daniel's got like killer top pressure, great paper cutter strangles. He's got a good north-south strangle that he caught me with at some point. So a lot of times for me to shut down some of his attacks, I'll turtle up, I'll expose my back. I will give him my back, not because I don't think he can't attack from the back. It's because I'm much more confident in my ability to escape the back than I am in like overcoming some of his really solid top offensive attacks. So a bit of strategy from me there. Just if you guys are wondering why I'm like rolling away from people and exposing my back, it serves a purpose it's a good tool to have in your arsenal. You just got to know when to use it. And it's when your opponent is better than you at a position that you're getting owned in over and over. I think Duncan's thrashing me over there now. Oh, okay, Steven's going over that. I was like, how did they even get there? Steven's going over a twister. So I think, if I remember correctly, right now Daniel's shouting some instructions to Duncan, especially when Duncan was on the attack a few seconds ago. And like, I gotta tell you guys, those of you who can like listen and execute, and are, you know, familiar with like the concepts that you know, one of the coaches may be shouting out at you when you guys are in a match. When I'm rolling with you and like Luke or Peter starts coaching you and you're listening, I swear to God, it sounds like, or it feels like I am suddenly going against someone who is leveled up, like in that instant, right? You've got a brown belt or a black belt working through you now, and it genuinely shows. Like you feel the shift in the pressure and the tactics and all that. So anybody who's maybe thinking about competing, there's a competition. I think it's still on Saturday. But for those of you who have aspirations of doing that or whatever, just keep in mind, like, if you want to instantly do better, just listen to your coach when they're trying to help you through a match. It makes a huge difference. Shut up, Joe. It doesn't apply to you. Probably applies to Joe more than like anybody. I swear, man, like when Luke or Mike start coaching you and I'm rolling with you, it's like, God damn it, like, can someone coach me, please? Can I just get a little help instead of getting smashed? Gavin on the single leg. Like a quick level change. So he's keeping his hands at bay. He's kind of telegraphing what he's doing, but I don't think Cody's looking at where Gavin's looking. Quick shift. Pulls the leg up. I think Luke is giving Cole a lot of crap here for a lack of leg attack study. Which has since changed, even in the short amount of time between now and when this video was captured. Cody, I think I really like the that snap down the front headlock position for you. Even though, like, because I struggle with this too as a shorter guy, like sometimes getting your opponent's head low enough to be effective with that can be tough. Like once you get it, and it's always possible, you know, being able to sprawl out, put your weight on top of their shoulders, and set up really effective underhooks, or chin straps or whatever, it seems to be working pretty well for you. God, the floor is so slippery right now. was trying to be fancy and go for like a really crappy banana split or something on Duncan. Good sacrifice throw from Luke. Yeah, Luke's working a similar thing like what I was talking about earlier, just immediately bugging the feet of the standing opponent, trying to break that connection to the ground, keep them from going on the offensive. And yeah, Cody, I'm glad to see you trying to be quick-footed with your passing and stuff. If it's not working for you, man, don't get discouraged. It just takes a lot of practice. Peters and I lately have been doing a lot more positional drilling with a focus on guard passing, like where one person is seated, the other person's either, seated, kneeling, or standing, whatever they want, and just working to pass guard. And once the guards pass, or once they're swept, you immediately start over. And it's extremely tiring because there's no rest, like there aren't any stalling positions, but that's a great way to practice your guard passing and just get a whole lot of reps in and learn how to adapt your strategy. So let's get back to the footage. Even Gavin working the front headlock. Mike and James up there. Looks like Luke, what did he get there? Looks like an Americana. Yeah, just pinning. Okay. My all-time favorite thing to do to Gavin, making him fly as much as he hates it. So here is what happens when... So I was working this X-guard position, which I went over a few weeks ago. I think maybe at the start of legs. So right now I'm in an X guard, and ideally what I'd like to do is get Gavin's hands to the mat. When they're on the mat, I can kind of choose, how I'm going to proceed with this. So I'm trying to bump him forward with my top knee that's like behind his butt. I switched to this reverse X guard, and it's really subtle. If you guys aren't familiar with reverse X guard, it's differentiating it between regular X guard and reverse X guard can be a little confusing. It's literally just a leg switch. Right now, my top ankle, the one closest to his hip, the knee is in front. That's reverse X guard. This would be a, well, if I was doing it a little better, this would be a regular X guard. Am I thinking about this right? Yeah, my legs are just in a funky position right now. So, but you can see the leg switch I make here. Boom. Boom. Right, so that I've changed which leg is on top. What I would love to do is have Gavin's hands to the mat, and him pressuring into me, where I can then pull his hips over top of my head and use this position to sit into a cross ashigurami. For those of you that were at the class where we went over that, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you weren't, I'll be happy to show you at the next open mat. But it's a fun little slick entrance into cross ashi. Problem is, none of it worked the way I wanted it to work. So instead, you'll see I put him down and end up switching into just an outside ashi, right? Capture his leg, and had to settle for this. So anybody who's played around with that move, when it doesn't go your way, you're not out of the woods. Like, you can still, or he's not out of the woods, I should say. He can still be attacked with a different leg entrance. This is the first time I'm okay with the pillar being there. Steven smashes me. Doing the best. God, Brandon was doing some really good stuff during our roll here. Let's see. I missed a lot of it, so let's go back. Yeah, Brandon's catching on really quickly with just good fundamental moves, fundamental positioning. Looks like trying to work his close guard. You've ended up passing to mounts. Did I skip too far ahead? I think I did. Sorry. There we go. All right, we're back to where we were. Try to keep an eye out for what you and Brandon are up to. Really great trip from Daniel there. It's difficult catching Cole with those. But notice he timed it to where Cole's legs were kind of crossed up, right? That's not a good position you want to find yourself in. It's a very narrow base. Like, your base is almost kind of inverted, if that makes sense to any of you. So before Cole could straighten back out, Daniel took advantage of it and gets him down to his butt. Really good timing. Looks like you're working a good back take there, Joe. We're seeing Luke in a familiar spot again. Earlier I pointed out some of the transitions through different leg entrances he was using. Now he's come up, he hasn't continued to rotate in any one way or the other, meaning he's taken a pit stop here at a reverse ashi. And notice he's just staying heavy on Cody, like not letting Cody slip the knee, or maybe he is like encouraging him to, just so Cody can see where he's at. But that's a spot where Luke would typically try to get a knee bar or work a toe hold, or the two of them together. Everybody just stopped. What happened? All right. Daniel got a Kimura on Cole. Almost from like that dorsal position, lays him back down to the mat. Nice. You were doing a good job there, Joe, of keeping oh, okay. I guess you guys maybe continue the roll. Or not. Keeping your guard in. making it difficult for Brandon to actually secure the pass. I think this is Peters and I just working guard passing. Damn, Luke and Danny are like going off screen now. But they're in a good leg lock battle. Or no, that's not Danny, that's Duncan. Let me go back and look at this. Were we guard passing? Oh, we might just be rolling. Never mind. So Gavin, you've got to start working your way around Steven at this point. There you go. Good. Nice kipping escape from Mike. Super annoying. Yeah, let's look at that for a second. Notice how Mike frames my hips. Legs are totally off the mat. He's trying to bend his spine here. Not working flat on his back as best he can avoid it. And I'm just committed to hooking onto his legs for some reason. And from there, like, look how he's posting on my hips, and then how he kips with his legs, and just slowly ends up getting me off balance, and working to a mount escape. Pulls his knee in. I knew where he could go with that, which is right into legs. So I try to disengage before he gets those setups. Oh, now he's working pendejo guard, which something Craig Jones released a few months back, maybe a year ago now. But it's built around, I think he's not quite there yet. He gets to it later. But it's built around the concept of a false reap, which I'm still trying to wrap my head around. Might be able to see what Mike sets up here. I don't know if I can even speak to it, though. It's not an approach I've ever used, so probably shouldn't speak to it. But go look it up on YouTube or on BJJ Fanatics or something if you're curious. Let's look at Luke working his... It's not really a half guard. So right now he's doing a lot of leg riding, trying to progress forward. Yeah, and he gets right into mount. So Duncan didn't have a leg capture or anything. So Steven was doing a good job of trying to set up the back control here. And this is just, I don't know if, I can't tell if this was just like a friendly thing, like if maybe he wasn't squeezing too hard or what. Let's just take it at face value. Something that you can notice here, right? We've talked a lot about with the back control stuff, how alignment is the most important thing. It's a prerequisite to being able to hit that strangle. Um, you can tell Steven doesn't have any lower body control at this point. He's got like one leg in, but he's not hooked onto anything. He's not preventing Gavin's hips from rotating. So as Gavin starts to rotate away, here he's pretty much, I mean, I don't want to say he's totally free from the strangle threat. Steven can try to heist up and follow him around, but he has started to rotate out, so Steven has to let it go. Well, he could choose to hang on if he wants, but he lets it go and lets Gavin work something else. So all the result of Gavin disrupting the alignment of that rear naked strangle. Let's see if Luke puts the same sort of concept into practice here. So Duncan's he's working top control and leg control. But Luke's doing a good job in winning the hand fight, right? It looks like he's gotten his shoulders to the mat at this point. He's misaligned himself. Now Duncan's trying to switch. He doesn't really have a good connection. Like he's this top leg isn't well connected. And I said something earlier that you guys might pick up on. Of course, Justin, thanks for tuning in, bud. We'll see you at class. For the armbar, I was saying the hips pretty much always, like, can't think of many times where this would be wrong, but the hips want to be along the line of the shoulders. So Duncan's hips are not there, which is why Luke probably isn't too concerned with this. And he's able to extract the arm. Gavin heavy on the head right off the bat. Let's watch Steven own me for the last 6 minutes, 5 minutes. Nice, Joe. Way to get behind him. Brandon calling out Ronnie. What did Steven do there? I totally missed it. So Steven starts cutting the angle around me. And we end up in 50-50 here. Which I'm normally pretty confident in my 50-50 defense and offense. Steven's making me question that a lot more these days. But I just start focusing on okay, cool. I guess I got that one. We'll talk about what I'm doing here. With 50-50, as the name suggests, you're in as much trouble as your opponent is. So the way I like to handle this is feet together. I'm not really letting any one foot hang out in isolation. It makes it a lot harder for him to get the heel exposure. Meanwhile, I just like to dig in. You can see this is the arm that does most of the work here. I dig in underneath that leg, try to pull it over to untie the triangle. Once, like, I'm focusing on this leg first, but this is really the leg that I want, right? The one that I'm controlling with my legs. So he In this case, Steven pulled the leg away. I didn't have to like try to send it somewhere else. He pulled it away for me and left his other leg exposed on the heel. So I start digging before he can redo his triangle. I get my heel exposure, and I get the inside heel hook. And at that point, Steven taps. So absolutely love the 50-50 position. Just really sucks when you get caught there. What did Steven go in on? So Steven goes in for a backside 50-50. In 50-50, do you have an order of operation you look for first before moving on to the next thing? Obviously depends on what your partner does, but in general. Yeah, I would say I do. I'm not... This is how I operate. I focus on defense first. Like, there's no point in mounting an offense if your ankles are exposed or if your heels are exposed. Like, then it's just a race to the finish. And you know, if I haven't like made my own leg safe and I'm trying to dig on someone who has, I'm going to lose that fight. You'll notice anytime we do leg pummeling where we just like leg drills, like where we both sit into 50-50, we slap hands, we fist bump. Very first thing I do is triangle my legs. That gives you something that you have to dig out of, and if you like manage to separate them, then it's that feet together position where I'm trying to make it very difficult for you to isolate the one foot. So my first go-to is defending my own legs, setting up, a well reinforced defense, and then I go on my offense, trying to split the legs, trying to isolate their leg, trying to expose the heel, and then finish. Good question. So Steven goes to this 50-50, almost comes around on the onto the cross ashi, but I was able to slip the heel out. Immediately scared for my ankle there. Proud of you, Joe. Good single leg X sweep or a rimiashi. Well, not even a rimiashi, more of an outside. Like you're in kind of a strange leg configuration there. Like you don't have a triangle on the outside. It's almost like you flipped what the legs are doing, but whatever. I'm not criticizing. You held the ankle, you pointed your knees to the outside, you engaged your hips, you got the sweep. It's good stuff. And then immediately in on the straight ankle. Looks like you're adjusting, trying to get down further. There you go. Nice. And I don't know what Steven and I just did. Oh, okay. I was attacking the Kimura. Steven hops over. I go with him. I hate how he just slips out the back like that. Another ankle pick. I think that might be Steven's bad ankle. which I had no idea of until I attacked it. All right, this will be the last one for the night, but another good example of just switching through Ashis. So here I'm playing like a bottom half, a dig in on the leg, and I'm using my knee shield to extend Steven away. I'm trying to get him off balance while my arms are attacking this leg. So I'm trying to get him falling backwards while isolating his left leg. You see I make a little switch there to, like, I take my knee shield out over his leg where I'm in somewhat of a reverse Ashi. I'm not really mounting any reverse Ashi attacks. I still haven't like isolated his leg at this point, but I'm making my way around across. Steven starts to stack here, which is a great reaction. But this cross shoulder post where my right arm is in his right armpit is what's going to help me complete my switch, or my get to the angle that I want to get to. So I start to push myself around. I'm either pushing him or I'm pushing myself, right? But I'm helping get to my angle. I'm staying on the on his left leg. You can see my left arm stayed, scooped on it. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm like scooped down around the knee or the calf there. And then now, rather than digging for the heel in the traditional sense, I started. This is another case where like I'm grabbing the toe, like the knuckle line rather of the foot, and trying to bring it to my chest to shut down his ability to rotate. In getting it, I wish we were rotated 180, but you would see my top arm is like cupping the toes, my bottom hand is trying to scoop under the heel, and I'm hipping in for, it's an inside heel hook, but it's might be an attack. I don't know. This is that Mikey lock thing for Mikey Musumeci, so it's hard to say exactly where Steven's feeling this one, but it can be an attack on the ankle, it could be an attack on the knee, but yeah, it's all done from cross Ashi. So what started as digging in from a Rimi, rotating through to reverse, continuing to rotate into cross, and then working for the finish when I got there. All just from revolving around the single leg. Joe slinging him around. Look at that. So Gavin shoots it on the single. Joe says, go ahead and take it. Immediate guillotine. That was solid. Again, back in on the Kimura, and time runs out. Good stuff. Really great stuff today. Oh, hey, there's the chat. What the hell? Cool. So yeah, that wraps up Legs Week at the gym. This footage was actually, I think, from right before legs started, but good to see some things that we could talk to. You guys have been killing it. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. I have no pep talk for you. You guys are just doing awesome lately. So, you know the deal. You can support us here by following us. If you're lurking in the chat, by subscribing. If you like what you're seeing, it always helps us out. If you guys are Prime members, use your Twitch Prime. It costs you nothing and it helps us out a lot. Renew it every month. So if you guys are subscribed and it's been a month, go renew it again. We really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you all pulled some stuff out from not just this stream, but in the last 2 weeks. I know legs can be a little mystifying for some, especially if they're not a major part of your game yet. So As always, bring all of your questions to class. More than happy to talk about it with you. We don't have to have death matches. We're always happy to go over stuff and drill it and work with you guys. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, bring any questions to class. Follow us here, subscribe here, follow us over on YouTube, where this video will be in the next day or two. And yeah, oh, no stream on Wednesday. I'm not going to be here, so we're going to postpone that till the following Sunday. So we will see you guys then, but I'll still be recording this week. So bring your thank you, Cody. Bring your A game to the mats. Let's get it on camera, and we'll have some more stuff to go over. In the meantime, trim your nails, do your laundry, and do not be stinky. Yeah, we'll see you then, brother. I will be there. Get your asses back to class. And yeah, see you guys soon. Later.